While I was watching it, I was like, what does Alonso see in this movie? It's time once again for our favorite game. We call it, Was It Great or Were You Eight? Where we go back and look at movies we love from our childhood to see, were they truly great? Or do we just love them because of nostalgia, because we were kids and we didn't know any better? Alonso picked a movie that I had never even heard of, much less seen from his youth. Alonso, what is your choice this time?
Hold it, mister. Hey, Max, don't move.
Bert, come back.
What do you say? Get back.
Today, I have chosen for us 1976's No Deposit, No Return, a Disney movie that isn't even on Disney Plus.
It's not.
For whatever reason.
I look for it. I'm like, why is this not here?
But, you know, it is definitely of that period of the Disney live action 1970s comedy, which was a staple of my childhood. The Kurt Russell, Dexter Riley movies, the later Herbie sequels, Gus, the donkey who could kick field goals, you know, all of those kind of films. That was my bread and butter growing up. And No Deposit, No Return was the first movie that I remember going to see multiple times in the theater. Like,
wow.
I think I went back to see it like 3 times when I was 9 years old. Not quite sure why now, but I guess maybe there weren't a lot of choices in the summer of 76. I don't know. But anyway, the film stars Kim Richards, who would, of course, later go on to be a real housewife of Beverly Hills. But dang it, she had a legit career first. She was a bona fide Disney child star between this and the Witch Mountain movies and, you know, some other stuff. And then, of course, as a teenager, starred opposite James Spader in Tough Turf. But she and Brad Savage, no relation to the other Savages, are a pair of siblings who are off at boarding school and they're out for Easter break and they're excited to get to hang out with their mom, Barbara Feldon, but she is a jet-setting magazine editor and can't get out of Hong Kong. So instead, she's sending them home to Los Angeles to spend time with their grandfather, played by David Niven, and he doesn't like them and they don't like him, and you know, they break shit in his house and he's no fun. And so they think it would be a swell idea when they get into a cab and realize that the 2 dudes they're sharing the cab with are fleeing the police, to stage their own kidnapping. And the reluctant kidnappers are played by Darren McGavin and Don Knotts. Wouldn't you know it, they bond and form kind of a quasi-family. David Niven knows this is happening and lets it unfold because he thinks it'll teach them a lesson. Eventually, of course, things get complicated and the police are drawn in and actual mobsters try to actually kidnap them and shenanigans and, you know, complications ensue. This is very much a Disney 70s movie in that, like, the special effects are terrible. There's an extended sequence of Don Knotts about to walk off a girder of a construction site that is so plainly green screened it's crazily obvious, although it's still kind of a fun sequence, and they find some fun slapsticks up there. All of the driving scenes have like really fake, you know, driving things behind them. And it's too long. Like, this movie's like a full 2 hours, and they're just scenes that just go on way past their expiration date. On the plus side, however, there is a goofy energy to this film. It's clearly drawing on like O. Henry's Ransom of Red Chief, in that these kids are kind of taking over their own kidnapping, and the bumbling villains are fun. And Barbara Feldon, always a classy addition, even though she doesn't enter until late in the film. And David Niven is fun. And, you know, I have eventually come to realize that part of my love of character actors is from movies like this as a kid, where you've got like John Williams and Herschel Bernardi and baby Charles Martin Smith, like 2 years after American Graffiti, and, you know, Vic Tayback as the mobster with the big checked suit, you know,
before Alice.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-Alice. This movie is, you know, it's nonsense, but it definitely, I enjoyed it nostalgically. Even if I approached it now, I would probably take it in very, very differently.
While I was watching it, I was like, what does Alonso see in this movie? I couldn't figure it out. I figured, like, even as an 8-year-old, you're probably more discerning, given that you are who you would grow on to be. But there's a nugget of an idea, I think a lot of these kinds of 70s movies had, of like kids being independent and resourceful.
Yes.
And wise beyond their years, but not necessarily in an annoying kind of cutesy way.
Precocious,
That's precocious and obnoxious. Like the root of why they are wise beyond their years is because no one wants to look after them. Like is their father dead? They don't say.
Never mentioned. It's a Disney movie, so it's probably a safe bet. But we never get it. No one talks about the dad.
Right. The mom would rather be halfway around the world than actually like taking care of her own children over spring break, and like fobs them off on her father, who also obviously can't stand them. Like they'd been raised by servants and drivers and
maids and nannies.
The stuffy lady who runs the boarding school. Oh, right. Well, I assume your mother will be here any minute now. And so it's sad when you think about this is why the Kim Richards character Tracy is such a good cook. Yeah, because she's had to fend for herself. She had to learn from people who've been hired to take care of her. So there's a fun in the kids being resourceful, setting traps for people and all that. But also when you, as an adult with perspective, thinking about it, like it's very sad. You know, they must be lonely little kids, and so there's that. Also, James Hong.
Yes,
as
James
a very stereotypical Chinese restaurant owner.
But he could take those stupid roles and make a meal out of them. That's part of his genius as an actor. It's a different time
though, and this is like the kind of the only work James Hong gets, is to be the Chinese food owner. Off the top though, it is fun, and I see also why you probably like this, because it's like the title sequence where it's animated and it like lays the groundwork for everything you're gonna see. And it's cute with like the skunk and the shark and all kinds of, it kind of like the Catch Me If You Can opening titles, like those classic opening, very, very fun. And the theme is fun, very of its time. It kind of sounds a little bit like the Pink Panther score.
Totally. Yes. They're working that hard. It's funny because like the Deck the Hallmark guys have been doing this podcast for a while called DCOM Descendants. And DCOM is, of course, Disney Channel original movies, which is a thing that you and I are far too old for. But there's a generation of now adults who grew up watching those Disney Channel movies and have a real fondness and affection for them. And the equivalent for my age was these dorky Snowball Express, kind of like, the Hot Lead and Cold Feet, Apple Dumpling Gang kind of movies that played in theaters that were these, it was sort of when Disney animation was kind of dead. Like the Fox and the Hound hadn't even come out yet. And this was after like the last gasp of like Robin Hood and the Jungle Book, but they were still making these live action movies and they were still making, having success with them, and there weren't a lot of competitors in the market really. So they kind of had they kind of had kids, whether we wanted them or not,
and they couldn't cost that much to make because so much of it is obviously like backlot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And green screen. Like it couldn't be expensive, it's people who are stars but not super major stars, like reliable working actors, like familiar faces that you see quite a bit. I'm trying to think. Get Smart was before this, right?
Oh yeah, that was late 60s.
Okay, and so Barbara Feldon, we knew her from that.
This is around the time of Smile, actually, which is this really great 70s comedy that Barbara Feldon has a great role in. But yeah, I always feel she was underserved by the industry. I think she was a really great comic actress that didn't get enough like good shots at it, because she's glamorous but also like has great comic timing, not afraid of a pratfall. Like she can do it all.
She brings a chic, kind of stylish elegance to these very, very silly antics here. The thing with Don Knotts, of course, this is like his bread and butter, being like fluid and kind of goofy and rubbery. But yeah, it's terrible. Not only is the green screen bad, but like the way it's edited is so jumpy and so jarring. And the way it goes from like, like a tight shot on him to like a wide shot and back again. And like it's off-putting. But if you look at what they're green screening around him, there's like the Hollywood sign behind him and downtown in front of him and the Cinerama Dome directly beneath him. So it's kind of geographically accurate.
Okay, so it passes that Christy Lemire test.
There's that, and then also the big chase, which goes on way too long. The big chase goes Los Angeles, way too long. But if you're looking in the background of that, It is San Pedro. You see the Vincent Thomas Bridge in the background. That big hill is Palos Verdes, where I live. I live on the other side of that hill. So some of that was accurate too.
I admire that. Yes, the car chase is way too long, but I do admire the deliberate, like, piece by piece destruction of that police car. Like they clearly like mapped that out. Okay, here's where the hood comes off. Here's where we lose the right rear bumper. Like they mapped it out clearly, and I admire that level of precision in a comedy.
Yes, the setup and payoff as far as like, okay, well, here's an obstacle for them. How will they deal with it? They will just go over it and over it and over it until the whole thing falls apart. Yeah, I like David Niven's kind of casual hangout outfits at home where he's got like an ascot and a cardigan sweater to play darts by himself. It's like a very like silly kind of kid idea of what a rich person's life would be like, you know,
Exactly,
in this
yes.
giant Tudor estate, having people just bring him thing on tray all the time.
Apparently that estate was in Pasadena and it burned down in 2005.
Oh, well,
So.
yeah. Anyways, all kinds of like silly mistaken identity stuff and, you know, multiple endings. Like, I'm surprised it is this long for a movie that is really squarely aimed at kids and not, I guess, for the whole family. But this should be like a tight 85 minutes.
Well, you know, it's funny. I think this is where we just had our monthly lunch date, which we have for our Patreon members. And somebody talked about how, you know, the one parent would drop the kids off at the theater and then another parent would pick us up at the end of the day. This was in the 70s, you would just get dropped off. And so I'm sure parents were like, oh, 2 hours and then there's another feature and a cartoon. Great. I'll be back, you know, at 5, you know.
All right. So we have to ask now at the end, was it great or were you 8?
I was 8. Yeah, I'm pretty, I can pretty firmly attest I was 8, but I think there is a good movie in here. And I bet if somebody like on YouTube decided they were going to make the 85-minute cut, I think it would have a lot of razzmatazz.
Kim Richards, she had acting chops. She had presence and poise. She was a good young actress. So,
for sure.
Thank you for making me watch this. Always a joy to expand my cinematic horizons and keep an eye out for our next Was It Great or Were You 8? Thanks for being here.